Hello everyone and welcome back to another Rise of Civilization video. My name is Legend Ronnie and today we are continuing our Commander Spotlight, and today is Hermann. I'm going to try to tell you as much as possible about Hermann and try to explain to you as much as I can. Now, our national hero, let's get back to him. Let's debate him. Hermann, he is a disabler, an archer and a defender. I'm not really interested about that defender which it says over there, but after the update Hermann just got a boost into his main skill. Now you can read his skills yourself. I do not really have to tell you about his skills, but his skills got a significant boost of another 400 damage factor, bringing his main skill to 1150 damage factor. And he also silenced the target for 2 seconds. Now you might want to understand what the silence is going to do, what this disabler it is about. He is one of the 2 disablers that are in the game available right now. So what the silence it is about? For example, when your enemy is about to reach full rage and Hermann is at full rage and is going to cast his ability, is also going to silence the target for 2 seconds. So that target, even if his full rage is at maximum for that particular duration 2 seconds, he will not be able to cast any abilities. So for example, if you are going to fight a powerful enemy, a very powerful enemy, if you have 2 or 3 Hermanns into the group hitting the same enemy, obviously it requires more players to do that, because you can't multiply your own Hermann. But if you have that, that means that you can basically silence that target continuously, and that target should not be able to cast any abilities, at least in theory. About how to upgrade his skill, Hermann is a free-to-play commander and an epic commander in the same time. That means that you will be able to obtain his sculptures without spending any money. For example, these particular sculptures you can get them from daily chest, expedition or various events. That Hermann is going to be good with. I'm going to start with obviously some free-to-play commanders. For example, Tomoe. Tomoe is an archer and support commander. You can read the skill yourself, but if you go full archers, you can see here that Tomoe also grants march speed and attack bonus to the archers. Her main skill increases the attack bonus of all your units. So obviously, if your Hermann is going to be on the rage build talent, that means it's also going to help Tomoe to regenerate her rage faster, so she can cast this skill faster. And that's gonna be obviously more damage bonus to your troops. Then let's go into Tomoe third skill. What does it say here? Increase the skill damage by 15% when Tomoe goes and is served a secondary commander. So there you go. Nuker build archer setup. So you have bonus to do more damage even with the skill of Hermann using Tomoe, not just boosting up your archers. Then you have the last one, which it says here, when using an active skill, Tomoe goes and reduces the current target damage by 15% for 2 seconds. So there you go, using your main skill often by using the rage build talent will also going to reduce the damage of your target. So this could be one of the best options for free to play that you could choose with Hermann. Hermann could also work with Boudica. It might surprise you when you think about, but they are both nukers, so Hermann can silence the target, Boudica can deal damage and reduce the damage of the target. Boudica has a slightly bit of healing factor, and Boudica has a chance to increase your troops damage by quite a lot, if you wanna ask me. So there is a 8% chance that your troops will do some extra damage. So there you go, Boudica and Hermann can also work together as free to play. If you want to go for a more defensive formation, you could also group Hermann with Scipio, and you could also group Hermann with Scipio even if you want to do the Archer build. Hermann could also go with Joan of Arc for free to play. Hermann could also work with Kusunoki. Let me have a look at Kusunoki. Increase the attack bonus and defense bonus. So there you go. There is another option for full archers if you want to use Hermann and Kusunoki. And here you go. When Kusunoki is going to attain the expertise skill, is another 15% attack on your archers. So that's 10% from Hermann, 15% from Kusunoki. So I would say that this is pretty sick. Not to mention the fourth skill of Kusunoki, which has a 10% chance to deal an additional damage. But again, these are mostly for nuking setups. That means that you cannot engage in direct damage. So you should not be the main tank that is going to take the damage. This is very important that you have to keep in mind. These are nukers setup. If you want to group Hermann, which I mentioned, with either Scipio or Joan of Arc, it gives you a bit of defensive abilities, but I still would not advise you to go into direct combat. You could also use for a multiple troops setup if you want, and nuking in the same time. You could group Hermann with Pelagius or Eolgimundo. They are all nukers. For pay to win, you could group him with Frederick I. The first skill of Frederick I is pretty good for boost. So let's say if you want to go full archers with Hermann, the first skill of Frederick would give you a quite significant advantage when it's maxed out. Another additional damage factor of 800. That is pretty insane from Frederick. Iseong-ji, I know he is an archer. It has a 10% chance to increase the attack of archers by 100%. That is fucking insane for 3 seconds. But the problem with Iseong-ji is about his first skill, which does a fan-shaped area, can damage at most 5 targets. So if you're going full archer setup, if you're going to hit 5 targets and you accidentally get 2 or 3 attention on you, that can be very devastating for your archer setup. Since it is a nuking setup, if you get too much attention, you're going to go down, trust me. So I would not highly recommend it, but this particular second skill for a full archer setup, it could work. Also, archer setup are not really viable at the moment in the game. The reason why is because of Minamoto and Cao that everyone is using. The cavalry setup is so powerful right now that it's literally not going to work to go full archers, but I'm trying to give you options if you actually want to try it, and in some situation it might be very good. What I'm using right now in the game is mixture of troops. I do have that cavalry setup that everyone has, but I prefer a mixture of troops. Hermann could obviously go even with Richard. Hermann could go even with Charles Martel, even with Minamoto, but that would be for mixtures of troops. So has a lot of options, but again, most of the options, they are directed for nuking, and that means that you should not be the first one that is going to engage the battle. So you might want to let someone else with more tanking commanders to go in and take the damage before you want to use a nuking setup against him. So that way you try to protect yourself and dealing a lot of damage, because that's what nukers are meant to do. Now, where I would advise you to use Hermann, mainly I would advise you to use Hermann in PvP. I honestly do not really see him fit in any other things. Killing barbarians, that almost any commander is good at. Barbarians, they are not really hard to kill, so killing barbarians is out of the question. Any barbarians can do, or killing the guardians, or killing barbarian forts. Almost any commanders, if you have the relative number of troops, any commanders can do it in a rally or in groups. All of them can do. But for example, attacking cities, I wouldn't really recommend Hermann for attacking cities or rallying. It's mainly PvP and PvE, sort of speaking. This is where Hermann will be very, very good. In group of fights, if you have Hermann, what I would advise you to do is try to focus on the strong commanders because of his silence. Because of his silence, if you're focusing the strong commanders or the strong player that are fighting, you have a chance to help your team to win by keep disabling him, so he's not going to use his ability. So that is pretty important if you are running Hermann. So that's pretty much what I have to say about Hermann. At one day I will use him, I will try him, and I will, how to say it, prove to everyone that all I'm saying about my commanders is going to be true. So until next time, or until I can actually prove everything that I say, this is Legend Ronnie, and I'll see you guys on the next video. And like usual, remember, you are not born a legend, you become a legend.